Kentucky Senator Rand Paul recently won the CPAC straw poll for president. We're going to play excerpts from his speech and see what all the fuss is about. This is the voice of resistance.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
Kentucky Senator Rand Paul recently addressed the crowd at the CPAC convention in Washington, D.C. It was the 50th anniversary of the American Conservative Union, who hosts the event. In a straw poll for president, Rand Paul won in a landslide. I'm going to give you those numbers in a minute. We're going to play clips for you from the speech. It was one of the best political speeches that I have seen in a long time, and I believe that you will be benefited from watching it. It was almost like a history and a constitutional lesson. It was tremendous. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, who cares about CPAC? It's just another event. Not quite so quickly. For example, President Reagan addressed CPAC 12 times before, during, and after his presidency. President Reagan won the CPAC straw poll in 1976, before he was president. He won again in 1980, before he was president. He won in 84 for his re-election. And he spoke there during his second term saying, "You have to dance with those who brung you." He recognized the incredible power of CPAC and the conservative movement to help him win in 80 and 84, but especially in 80, because he, you have to remember, like Rand Paul, was the outsider. He was the anti-establishment Republican candidate in 1976 and in 1980. So, who else was at the CPAC convention and how did they fare? Before we play some clips from Rand's speech, let's look at who he beat. Rand Paul came in first, by the way, with 31%. He's up 6% from last year. Ted Cruz, senator from Texas, came in a distant second with 11%, although he was up 7 points from last year. Dr. Ben Carson, he got 9%. He has no history in politics. He's actually a surgeon. He successfully separated twins who were conjoined at the head. First time a surgeon did that. He made headlines when he openly rebuked the president at a prayer breakfast a couple of years ago. Governor Chris Christie from New Jersey, a distant fourth place with 8%. He's up 1%. Senator Rick Santorum, a favorite of the Christian right, he was only at 7%. He's down 1 point. Big news, Marco Rubio, the senator from Florida, 6%. He's down 17 points from last year. Last year, he and Senator Paul were very close. Congressman Paul Ryan, former VP candidate with Mitt Romney, 3%. He's down 3 points from last year's straw poll. Rick Perry, who, of course, flubbed in the debates and raised an enormous sum of money early on in his presidential run in 2012. He came in with 3%. He will soon be the former governor of Texas, and he is considering a run again in 2016. I'm not sure exactly what he would have to offer. Bobby Jindal, he is the current governor of Louisiana. He came in at 2%, down 1% from last year. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, she came in at 2%, and I'm just going to say for the record, she's not conservative, okay? Don't let anybody kid you. And if we wanted to have a poster child for the conservative movement, it would not be Condoleezza Rice. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee came in at 2%, and former Alaskan Governor Sarah Palin came in also at 2%. So, oh, and by the way, I'm happy to tell you that Jeb Bush, former governor of Florida, did not even show up on the poll. All right, let's play a clip from Rand Paul's speech. We're going to use a clip for every segment, and hopefully you'll get to know this man, his ideology a little bit better, and get a little education in the process. Senator Paul.
It isn't good enough to pick the lesser of two evils. We must elect men and women of principle and conviction and action who will lead us back to greatness. There is a great and tumultuous battle underway for the future, not of the Republican Party, but the future of the entire country. The question is, will we be bold and proclaim our message with passion, or will we be sunshine patriots retreating under adverse fire? Will we be firm in our convictions, or will we cower, defeated, and meekly dilute our message? Will we water down the Bill of Rights, or will we be all on fire?
Friend, I'm loving this. We're not going to dilute our message. Will we say the truth when we're under fire? That's the stuff that President Reagan was made of. You don't equivocate. You don't try and make your message a little bit more palatable like Mitt Romney did or like Chris Christie would do. You say the truth. And I believe it was Paul said, the Apostle Paul said, men do not come to battle unless they hear the clear sound of the trumpet. And what we will see in this speech from Senator Rand Paul is he pronounces the truth like a clear trumpet blast, without equivocation. And you can see it is going to rally people to him and to the cause of life and liberty. When we come back, what year was he born? How many siblings does he have? What do we know about this man? This is the voice of resistance.
You have two choices. I mean, you can try to raise your children by design, or you will raise them by default. There are no perfect parents. We're going to get it wrong sometimes. If we have a plan, we've got a better chance of getting it right in the long run.
There is something deep within the heart of every human being that longs for parental acceptance and approval. When does a boy become a man?
Get a group of guys around and ask them that question.
I don't think there's a certain age. Some men stay boys their whole life.
I would say, 16, 18 years old.
Wow, that's a good question.
When they get bar mitzvah?
Well, I think when he has a child. So I just became at 56, 56 years old.
Without the power of the Holy Spirit changing us and giving us power over our sin, we can't hope to be the dads that our kids need us to be.
Hi, friend, I'm Randall Terry. George Washington said, "Government is not reason. It is not eloquent. It is force. Like fire, it is a dangerous servant and a fearful master." Welcome back. Rand Paul was born on January 7th, 1963. That means he just turned 51 years old. I'm the same age as him. And remember, the 50s are the new 30s. He has 4 brothers and sisters, by the way. He is the middle child of 5 children. And in case you did not know, he is the son of former presidential candidate and former U.S. House member Ron Paul from Texas. All right, we're going to play another clip, and hear me. Every great movement needs champions. And if we are going to get this republic back, if we're actually going to do an about-face, if we're going to go a completely different direction than we're going, we won't get there with a Mitt Romney or with a Bob Dole or with a John McCain, okay? If you look at the presidential candidates who lost, 96, Bob Dole, 2008, John McCain, 2012, Mitt Romney. If you look at them, what do you see? Do you see pillars of strength and resolve? True Christian conservatives? No. You see people that equivocate, that are ready to throw babies to the wolves, that equivocate on marriage, that equivocate on Obamacare, that equivocate on socialism. These are not men who are cut from the cloth of Ronald Reagan or Teddy Roosevelt, for that matter, or other political heroes both in America and around the world, such as one of my favorites, Winston Churchill. No, these are men who are a Republican version of the Democrats. They are a GOP version of socialism. They're Democrats on the half shell, Democrat light. And by the way, this is not about partisan politics. It's not about Democrats versus Republicans. It's about the federal plantation versus liberty. It's about socialism versus freedom. It's about the true protection of life versus throwing the babies under the bus. So I would advise you to study Rand Paul closely, because you might be looking at not only the Republican candidate for president, you might be looking at the next president. Let's play another clip from his CPAC speech.
The Sons of Liberty, who fought against British soldiers writing their own warrants, would today make a bonfire of secret orders issued by federal police. The Sons of Liberty risked everything to guarantee your right to a trial by jury. They would today call out to the president. They would say, "We will not be detained, spied upon, nor have our rights abridged. We will not submit, and we will not trade our liberty for security. Not now, not ever."
All right, think about it. Think about the essence of that closing of that statement. We will not trade liberty for security. At the end of the day, the argument that Obama and Republican leaders like Boehner and King and others are making is that the theft of our rights with the NSA spying program, the trampling of the Constitution, is necessary so that we can be safe. As I've said before, I'll say it again. If you want to be safe, build a big prison camp. Have bars to keep you away from all danger. The elephants that are in the zoo are very safe. There's not going to be a lion that attacks them. Hunters aren't going to get them. And they're not free. So, focus your attention, people, on the issues at hand. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, Rand Paul, where was he baptized? What denomination? And where does he go to church now? I'll tell you when we return. This is the voice of resistance. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books on theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. Two, Rand Paul was baptized in the Episcopalian Church as an infant. And in 1993, he and his wife, Kelly, became members of the Presbyterian Church, where she serves as a deacon currently. So, and sometime in the future, we will take a look at the differences historically between the Episcopalian Church and the Presbyterian Church, and the different strains of Anglicanism, the different strains of Presbyterianism. It's a very interesting and important theological discussion because both the Episcopalian world and the Presbyterian world had a profound impact on the establishment of this republic. More than any other denominations, by the way. So be careful that you don't hold either the Episcopalians or the Presbyterians in contempt. We would not have an America without them, people. It's very simple. All right. When we play this clip, I want you to listen to the jarring words that he says and then the cheers. And I'm going to tell you something that it means when he's done. Senator Paul.
Yet, as our voices rise in protest, the NSA monitors your every phone call. If you have a cell phone, you are under surveillance. I believe what you do on your cell phone is none of their damn business. I believe this is a profound constitutional question. Can a single warrant be applied to millions of Americans' phone records?
Now, some people are like, oh, I can't believe he said that. Let me tell you something. He used that word with surgical precision. He meant to jar people. He meant for that clip to be a wake-up call. Yeah, it is none of their darn business. But what was even more impressive to me about the entire speech and the cheering in particular at that moment was the youth. About half of the attendees of CPAC are young people. And if you look at President Reagan's election, amazingly, at the time, the driving force, one of the key driving forces for President Reagan's victory in 1980 were young Republicans, young voters. The first vote that I ever cast was for President Ronald Reagan in 1980. The first time I walked into a voting booth, flipped the lever in the state of New York, it was to cast my vote for President Ronald Reagan. And I did it enthusiastically. That cheering crowd that you heard, and you could hear the young voices, inspiring the youth, harnessing their energy, unleashing them into the body politic, that is key to winning an election. And what this may come down to is, hear me, the youthful vibrance of Hillary versus Rand Paul. The volunteers that are 30 and under, 25 and under, that are going door to door, passing out literature, making phone calls, raising money for Hillary Clinton or for Rand Paul. And what's actually funny is that the marijuana factor, and I'm not an advocate of people smoking marijuana, but the marijuana factor is probably going to be removed from the equation. Or it's going to tip toward Rand Paul. Do you understand what I'm talking about? I'll make the point, all right? I'm not trying to confuse people, but you've got young people that would support Hillary who are statists, who want free stuff, who want free birth control. Gimme, gimme, gimme. The government is my savior. The government is my provider. And on the other hand, you have young people who are following Rand Paul that'll say, give me freedom. I don't want free stuff. I don't want free birth control. I don't want free anything. I want liberty. And the libertarians who make up a lot of the young people are discussing the decriminalization of marijuana. Not because they're potheads, not because they're dopers and they're wild, carousing people, but just because they don't think that the government should be criminalizing that, it's pretty much plain and simple. And if there's medical use for it, etc., let it happen. All of that to say that that element is going to probably not be a part of the volunteer base. What's going to matter with the youth in the 2016 presidential election is ideology, political philosophy, religious commitment. Those are going to be the driving forces of young people. And what I'm hoping is that truth will triumph over lies, because Ron Paul and those that are following him are heralding truth, and Hillary Clinton and those that are following her are heralding lies and slavery. Please, God, please give us a righteous president. Please, God. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, what kind of surgeon is Rand Paul? Did you even know that he was a surgeon? I'm not talking about a political surgeon for the body politic, but that would work. This is the voice of resistance. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. For those of you who don't know, Senator Rand Paul is an ophthalmologist. That means he's an eye surgeon. He finished his residency at the Duke Medical University as an eye surgeon and then moved with his family to Bowling Green, Kentucky, where he opened up his practice in 1993. Let us play 2 more clips from this speech, and then I want to encourage you. Senator Paul.
There's a great battle going on. Don't forget it. There is a great battle going on. It's for the heart and soul of America. The Fourth Amendment's equally as important as the Second Amendment, and conservatives cannot forget this. Will we sit idly by and let our rights be trampled upon? Will we be like lemmings rushing to the comfort of Big Brother's crushing embrace? Or will we stand like men and women of character and say, we are free, and no man, no matter how well-intentioned, will take our freedom from us?
His question cuts to the heart of the matter for you and for me. Namely, will we sit idly by? Friend, I'm honored that you watch this show. I hope that we provide you with not only food for thought, but help in your discipleship as a follower of Christ, if you are indeed a Christian. And if you're not a Christian, I hope that we at least make the Christian faith interesting to you, and hopefully you become a Christian. But it's a great starting point to watch this show, but it's simply not enough. His question, will we sit idly by? It's not enough that we be a couch potato. It's not even enough that we be a pew potato, going to church and hearing rousing sermons. Those may be good starting points, taking in information such as on a TV show like this, but at the end of the day, will we leave the comfort of our couch, of our pew, and be in the fight to win this country back? I say we join it, and maybe we help somebody like Rand Paul become president. This is the voice of resistance. Bye.